Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Project podcast team. Today I am sitting here with Brad Munro, and I'm very excited to have Brad on the episode today. There's a few reasons why I wanted to get Brad on. One, he has a very cool story and just an all-round great lad, but also because I want you guys, and obviously in the Man That Can Project community, to learn more about Brad and a lot that he has to offer, because it's really important for me that we get different perspectives and different ways of, I guess, learning and seeing the world to help other men overcome certain things. And Brad's we always have good chats at about 5 a.m. when we get into the gym, and I know he has a lot to offer, and it's exciting to see that over the next sort of coming months he'll be jumping on board with the Man That Can Project community to help facilitate workshops and get involved with everything moving forward. And I'm excited for you guys to hear about his background rather than me trying to spell it out to you. You can hear some first-hand experience, and you can already see he's got a cheeky grin. Obviously, I'm not going to steal your thunder, mate. I'll pass it over to you and let us know a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Lockie. Yeah, my name's Brad Munro. Often people think I say Bread, but it's Brad, B-R-A-D. Bread. Brad. I'm obviously a Kiwi, and I've been living over here about 10 years.
10 years here?
10 years, yep.
Do you miss the homeland?
I do with certain aspects. I miss my friends,
yep.
My mates, my family, obviously. I always forget to mention my family when I'm asked that question. But no, I love it in Brisbane. Love it. And I love Australia.
What made you move over?
My wife. So my beautiful wife, Kelly. She's from Brisbane, Australian, and I met her in London.
London?
Yes, London.
Take us on that story. How'd you guys meet?
Oh, we had to go there, didn't we?
Yeah, we
okay. So the first I'd gone on a...
Don't get it wrong as well, because this is could be bad.
No, I won't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong.
You can.
No, you can't get it wrong. You get the pub wrong. So I was I'd done 11 years in the army,
yep.
And I was taking a bit of a break from the army at that stage, and decided to do a bit of an OE with a good mate of mine. And the first week I was there, I met my wife at a pub. And then
first week
there, I'd gone to...
Did you go with any plans of how that trip was going to turn out?
Yeah, the plan wasn't going to go that way,
yeah.
Lockie. It was going a different way that way, and I'll maybe leave that for another chat another time.
Yep,
But
yep.
I definitely didn't expect my wife to be. I'd meet her in the first week I was there. Yeah.
It's funny, mate. There's a few similarities. We'll go back to you. I want to talk about me for a moment. When I made that decision to change my life, and I was like, I'm going down to Brisbane, I'm not drinking, and it was like that fucking first weekend I met Amy. I was like, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing, I'm just saying I can relate to that, mate. I had a different idea of, what that next chapter was going to be like for me, but it changed and got me to where I am now.
Absolutely.
Take us back to the pub you met in the first week.
So, long story short, all the military boys or army boys were meeting up over there at a pub, and it happened that a lady I'd served with in Afghanistan, who had actually became Kelly, my wife's best friend, knew me through Afghanistan, and brought her along to the pub.
Yep.
And there was no expectation that she would. She just thought she'd get along with the boys quite well.
Yep.
And she knew she'd get on with me well, but definitely didn't expect what
as well
proceeded. Yeah, as well.
Matchmaker.
Matchmaker. Young Michelle was. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, mate. That were you was it one of those, you know how you always hear those stories, the moment that I first saw, I just knew?
Oh, definitely not. Even she'll admit that she got introduced to me, and apparently I was like high by because the boys were there, so I just wanted a beer. And she'll always remember going, "Oh, I thought he was like a real nice bloke." But
I need background, right? Because the way I know you, you're a cheeky bastard, but also a surf rat.
Yeah.
And also a fitness coach, a father, husband, and you know you're a coach for South Logan, S&C with South. I keep saying South Logan Magpies. So you wear all these hats, but take us through how you got to that point. Like, what was young whippersnapper Brad like?
He wasn't very smart at school. If there's, school wasn't my thing.
Would you say he'd be smart at school now?
Yeah, that's another conversation.
Can't spell
I've got an OP5.
Yeah.
It took me 22 years to get it, but I've got an OP5 now. So young Brad was, very much into his sport. I come from a little country town in New Zealand that everyone knew each other. Especially me. My dad owned the liquor store.
You've been the favourite person, mate.
My love of alcohol maybe came from there. But no, that's where I was brought up. Yeah,
that's fucking brilliant. And then so I know you loved footy as well. It's
So basically, as kids,
that's why you didn't get the OP5 until later, because you were focused on footy, right?
Focused on sport, any sport, cricket, rugby, touch, anything I get my hands on. And I was all right at it. I made my first 15 at school.
That's all that if you do that, life's done. That's the way I put it. Draw the line in the sand. I've made it.
Yeah. I a really good upbringing. We weren't overly. I wouldn't say we weren't well off or anything, but we were really looked after. I've got 2 older sisters and a younger brother, and 2 good parents. Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant. I couldn't imagine a younger Brad.
No, you probably don't want to imagine.
Fucking hell. But obviously now you're wearing all those other hats. You said you had 11 years in the military.
Yep.
What for you, was that something you did straight out of school? Was that something you wanted to do growing up?
Yeah, so I think my mum said from a young age I was going to join the army.
Really?
And out of all her 4 children, she just never had a worry with me. I was joining the army. And so...
Why? What made you want to go there?
I think I did tell her that. She remembers me as a really, really young saying, I'm going to join the army.
Yep.
Or I want to join the army. I used to draw a lot of battle scenes and military scenes. I liked looking at military planes, military really. I loved it. I was really fascinated by it, you could say. Yeah.
And what was it like for you? What was that experience? 11 years is a fair chunk of time, considering you're only 21 now. No, I'm kidding.
A little bit older than that. So I joined when I was 17 and a half.
Yep.
You had to be 17 and a half. I joined when I was just over 17 and a half, turned 18 on my basic training.
Yep.
And basic training was a wake-up call at that stage, to a young kid. I wasn't, I hadn't even finished school.
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's what I wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking. Did you have to have the shaved head and stuff?
Yeah, to cut your hair to a number 2.
Mate, we'll get some photos posted of that because I haven't even seen any, but I'm keen as to.
Yeah, I like
definitely
skinny, gaunt
whippersnapper.
Yeah.
Fucking. Did you have a nice white scalp?
Yeah, no, I got a pretty good scalp. Right?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah,
but mine would be full of scars and bumps and all kinds of stuff. But I guess diving into the military, obviously from the outside looking in, I've never been in. I didn't even do cadets. I just watched that, and one of the things, and this is a respectful comment, but you every day for Anzac Day every year, when we're at school, you just wait for that one fainting person because they'd have to be in that full kit and caboodle, and it's fucking hot, right?
Yeah,
it's not happening in cold time, and even in Toowoomba, you just be like, righto, who are we putting money on to faint today? And that's what it was for me. But now that I've sort of become a bit more educated and understood, met yourself and other people who've been in the military and learn about what you guys have done and a lot of the skills and the discipline and the fucking respect and all those sorts of, I think, things that are lacking in a lot of those things are lacking in everyday society, especially as I observe, and once again, younger generations come up. I feel like respect and discipline and resilience is fucking gone out the window.
Absolutely.
But for yourself, do you feel, because I know you're a disciplined bastard, you're in the gym yesterday morning at 4 o'clock because you couldn't fit it in during the day, and I was like, what are you doing here, mate?
I don't do that all the time, but I try.
You're
I
there
will do
a
that.
fair amount of time, getting in there, getting the sauna done, but like that's obviously sacrifice, discipline. For yourself, like going through the military, how do you feel they sort of helped you learn to be more resilient and build discipline? And
It's the things you do in the military. You're constantly training.
Yep.
You're constantly training. And through whatever you're doing, whether that's medical, learning your trade, or outside aspects within the army,
Yep.
you're always doing something disciplined, routinely.
Yep.
And I suppose that's just installed in me now. And
all right, we're back after a little technical difficulty. I gave Brad the snowball mic because I know sometimes the back falls out, and I could blame that on him and not myself. So you're welcome to the world of podcasting. But where we just were, Brad was obviously filling us in on some of the things that he learned through military around how to obviously building resilience, respect, and discipline, because I believe it's something that a lot of us lack, myself included, to up until a certain point in my life I lacked, but I think it's one of those things that can really help us make huge improvements in our life, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, with your relationship, all aspects essentially. If I could list them off, but I'll just back over to you, mate. How did we get there?
where we're at,
where are we?
After all that,
This is Inception.
I think, what did the military install me? I think that's sort of what you were getting at, Lockie.
Certainly was.
Exactly those things you've just sort of said, and you've got sort of no option in the military to either do that or don't, because in the military, it may have changed a little bit these days.
Do that or don't.
Oh.
I fucking love that. Can you pass me that notepad, please? I'm just going to take some notes. Sorry, guys. This is...
It's black and white.
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't.
But I love this, right? And we were just talking about this before. We will get you to finish the story. Don't worry about that. But black and white, it's like you do or you don't. Do or you don't. And I think in life, we often overlook that, right? Like we go to work to overcomplicate shit because we think... I've been talking about this a lot, that in order to get a result, because a lot of people don't have the results a lot of us are looking for, right? Financial success, happiness, great relationships. And we're going to talk about this because you've got a great relationship. So do I.
You always
yeah.
have that, and
But people overcomplicate it because a lot of people don't have it. So therefore we go, oh, in order for them to have that, they must have figured out the fucking algebra, fucking... mathematician crazy thing that no one else has ever figured out in order to get that result, rather than going, well, maybe it's actually more simple than we first thought. And going back to, hold on, I'm bringing this back around because I can see you're confused.
No.
But it's like, sometimes it is that simple. You do or you don't. You make a decision or you fucking don't.
Yeah.
You're in or you're out.
Yeah.
Like it's, and we're talking about black or white before. I was like, on paper, things look simple. It's like if you...
Common sense.
Yeah, common sense is simple. But then obviously when we're going through life and, we experience certain emotions or shit's going on, it becomes a little bit more tricky. But when we really boil it down, you're either in or you're out. Like the reason why I feel like I've got to where I've got to is I'm in.
You're right.
There's no fucking... I like every... person on the planet, I still have moments where I have low days, I have self-doubt, I have all those sorts of things going in, but at the end of the day, when I go back to what am I actually doing, I'm fucking in.
Yeah.
And whatever that involves on that day, I'm doing it regardless of how I feel. Yeah, there's some days where I have to slow down, but I'm still going to back my decision, which I originally said. So this is a long-winded tangent, but I feel a lot of people aren't where they want to be in life because one, we either overcomplicate it by thinking, oh, am I actually good enough? Am I qualified enough? Am I this, that, and the other to do this, rather than just going, I'm in.
I'm in. I can do it.
I'm
good enough.
Yeah, I'm good enough. Let's get after it. Don't know how we got there, but you do or you don't. That's how you got to the discipline part.
Yeah, I think I was saying, yeah, it's, you either do it or you don't.
This is where you get to when you don't prep
For the podcast.
for a podcast.
Okay.
It works a treat though.
I'm learning.
But this is how I always do it, so it's fine. But obviously, those things that you learn, like, what do you feel, or what did you see for yourself? Like, you obviously didn't go into the military extremely well disciplined. Do you feel you were really respectful when you went in?
I definitely was respectful. I did cadets too, so I already had a little bit of a.
Yeah.
I had a lot of an
Inkling of it.
understanding actually of the military and, orders and respect and stuff like that. And I think I had that background, and I must have enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. What about like the resilience? Have you always considered yourself quite resilient?
Well, I probably myself don't think I'm that resilient, but when it comes to certain things, I probably am. Like I don't get stressed out as much as other people do.
What are we looking at?
Something they could do.
Sorry guys, we're taking a turn for the worse. Where are we at?
Have we what?
I can't see.
Oh, he's
Anyway,
gone. He's gone. Anyway.
You're saying naked dude, and here we are both looking. But you don't consider that you were.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm overly resilient.
Yeah.
But you have to be in certain aspects within the military. It's just there, that's the way it is.
Yep.
You go overseas for a certain amount of time. You have to be resilient enough to go over there, be disciplined enough to stay there and not get hung up on missing family. You're going to, but, to be able to get through that.
What was that like for you then? Like, obviously, being taken away from everyday life and being deployed. I'm just going to throw the assumption out there that you've been deployed.
Yes.
For the audience, because they're like, how do you even know? Brad hasn't told us yet. Yeah. But, that would be a huge sacrifice, right? Like, you're taken away from day-to-day life and completely just planted somewhere new. Like, how did you adjust to that?
It's kind of weird. I went on 3 operational tours, and you're excited. You want to go. It doesn't, you've joined the army to do that. I mean, we weren't, for a couple of those tours, you weren't going to war. East Timor, you weren't going to war. Bosnia, we weren't going to war. Afghanistan was maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you want to go. That's what you've done. You've trained in the army pretty much to do that. It may have been on a different scale, but that's what you're trained to do, and that's what you want to do. And to a degree, anything else in the way of that is not going to stand in the way. If you've got a girlfriend or a fiance, in my case for one of my tours, I didn't care about her as such. I looked after her to a degree, but you were more focused on, I want to go on this tour. This is what I'm about.
Do you feel like it became your identity?
I think, and we've mentioned this. Yeah, it definitely becomes your identity. It was something you mentioned the other day, and I hadn't really thought of that until you said it. Definitely, and my identity has changed now for sure. Yeah. I'm a different person. Like, my wife now looks at photos of me in the army and just goes, that's not you.
How do you feel when you hear that?
I'm like, it is me. Look at me. Look how good looking that guy is. But, she'll see a guy with cam paint on her face. She doesn't like weapons, guns. I'm holding a rifle. Yeah. And she looks at it and goes, "That's."
What was your role? Like, I don't actually know all the.
So I did a lot of different varying roles. Yep. When I was in East Timor, I deployed as a platoon signaller. Okay. And then
no idea what that is, but
like a radio operator within a platoon setting, and we'd go out and do either overt or covert patrols.
Can you link it back to Call of Duty in any way?
No, I hate it. So we'd go out and do presence patrols where we're hearts and minds were being seen. Yep. The United Nations wanted over there helping. Yep. What was going on over there, so you'd be seen, and then you did covert operations where. That's where you get your campaign on and you go do
missions.
Go looking for the bad guys as such. Not there were too many around. Yeah. So that was my job, but that job sort of got a little bit disbanded over there because of how it works. So I did a number of different roles over there. It's like we did motorbike patrols over there.
That would have been fun.
On 4-wheelers, which is cool. We did heaps of different stuff, and sort of I got re-rolled where I was needed. Yep. in the platoon. Yeah.
That's freaking epic.
So yeah, that was my role over there, and that was I was 20 years of age then. So yeah, it is what it is.
What was sort of one of the biggest, I guess, let's say from 17 and a half till about 23, what was the biggest lesson you took away from being in the military at that point, if there was one?
Oh, how to drink.
How to
How to drink well. Probably leadership, to be honest. I got promoted really young.
Yep.
And really early on. So I had to really, step up to that role, whether I did properly or not. I had really good NCOs above me that helped me. But yeah, I had to step up pretty quickly. I hadn't been in the army long when I got promoted.
What sort of caused you or empowered you to step up faster than most?
It would have been A, I had to.
Yep.
And B, the guys ahead of me, my leaders, my corporals, which were bombardiers, we were different because we were different corps, but yeah, they made you step up.
So why do you feel you had to? Was it because they were making you, or is there any other?
A bit of both.
Yep.
You're wearing that rank, you have to, and they are looking at you to step up, and you're expected to.
It's fucking cool hearing that, right? Like, so you were thrown in the deep end, and you
absolutely was.
But in doing that, it's probably, it forced you to become someone you necessarily weren't at that point in time, but then you became it. Yeah,
I think. I definitely could. I was definitely thrown into that role very young and very early in my military career as such. Yeah, there was a few of us at the time, and that was just how things had panned out.
Do you sort of take that approach to everyday life now, where it's like, even if you aren't quite sure that you're ready for something, you just fucking jump in and do it anyway and figure it out as you go?
To a degree, I like to be prepared for stuff like this. I thought I was going to get prepared for. We didn't really prepare.
You don't need to prepare for podcasts.
But in other aspects, my wife says it all the time. You'll just clutch something up and do it.
Yep.
But I do like to try and prepare for stuff as much as I can, and that's a military thing. You really try and prepare, but then the shit hits the fan, and you go. Well, you got to
have that situational awareness with sensory acuity to adapt and change.
Absolutely.
Things happen. I think it's for a lot of people out there. A lot of people are like, I'll be happy when I get this, or I'll be worthy when I do this, or I'll be XYZ when we're looking for promotions or job titles, rather than just going, okay, well, if I were to be in that position, how would I think, act, and behave? Which is what holds a lot of people back, because I know full well as a business owner, I want to hire people who have initiative and are going off the back to upskill themselves, and they're acting like someone they're not, currently maybe recognized as. Or does that make sense?
Yeah, and no, you have to as a boss. Yeah, you wouldn't be a boss if you're not doing that.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't feel like they're leaders, but we're all the fucking leader of our own life, really. Like, essentially, we determine the outcome, the results that we get.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're waiting for someone to fucking, with a nice crystal ball, to come along and go, Brad, here are the answers, man.
You need to move to Australia.
Need to move to Australia and via London and get your wife and do all those sorts of things. But rather than a lot of us realizing, all right, well, I'm actually in control. I'm the leader of my own life. How do I want to think, act, and behave to get the results that I want? So I live my life by doing that now. And my diary, I don't have my diary, that's my new fancy iPad. Fancy. But every day I'm thinking about what I want to create for myself. What standards do I need to hold myself to? If I was employed, how would I employ me? How would I expect myself to, act, or what results would I be getting to warrant my position? And a lot of people lack that, whether it's coming from confidence or understanding or discipline or whatever it is. There's a lot of people who are stuck because of that. And that's why I think, from the military background, it's interesting to see how you put that pressure on yourself, but also the environment that you're around fucking really pull that up. Little free tip here for you guys today is that your environment's really quite important to helping you
succeed.
Yeah, succeed. Get more out of yourself than you may think is possible.
Yeah.
If you hang around people that just sort of don't challenge you, then prepare not to really grow much. But if you're hanging around people who go, Brad, you'll fucking rip this podcast, like I was saying, then you end up doing things that you normally wouldn't do, and you grow from it. Like, there's no failure, it's only outcomes. And this outcome is a positive one already because I got you on camera. Hey,
Yeah.
But so go military. Let's go. So you were early 20s then. Let's bring it back. What sort of happened from 20 to... You were 20 when you were on the motorbikes and doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
obviously took you to 24. What was
Yeah,
the biggest lesson?
I think, and then I actually got deployed to Bosnia too. So that was a little later on. That was 2005. So 25, 26. By then the war was well over there, and we won't go into obviously the background of that. But we were over there to liaise with politicians, police, local dignitaries.
Yep.
And my role over there was to be a liaison officer. So I went over as a sergeant, as a liaison officer, so you had liaison. But when I got there was no role for me. So I got chucked in with another guy who was over there, and he became the liaison officer, and I basically became the driver. But we both did liaison driving. We both did, liaison work, but yeah, I became the driver. But we both did the work, yeah. So it was really interesting. So we liaised with police, all the NGOs, so non-government organisations over there, right through to helped with some of the war crimes, mass graves, things like that. And we weren't directly, but we helped assist any work that needed to be done over there. Yeah, it was really interesting work and really fun.
Yeah. How long were you over there for?
7 months.
Yeah, right. Was that taxing on you being away from family and friends as well, or how'd you go through that period?
At the time, no. It was probably taxing on my fiance at the time. It definitely was, I think. And that had paid probably why our relationship broke down in the long run that was one of the reasons, was me in the army and me going away.
So you say it broke down, or?
Subsequently, a few years later, I went to Afghanistan, and then after Afghanistan, it broke down after that. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And then you rebuilt it, or is it?
Oh no, we'd finished. That was Kelly, obviously. Yeah. There was another girl, so she was my fiance at the time. And yeah, I think Afghanistan.
I didn't know this. No, I didn't know this. This is all new to me. Here I was going, oh, clearly you've rebuilt it, and it's
no, that's Kelly.
Hammering. Right.
No, I didn't rebuild. So Kelly, so I went to Afghanistan. Still had my fiance at the time, and then came back, and that sort of went by the wayside for many a reason. Yep. Yeah.
And how was that for you? What was that experience like? Because the reason why, if you feel comfortable talking about it, one of the biggest things a lot of men struggle with is relationship breakdown. Yeah. And it's always good to understand what potentially that feels like for you, because there's definitely blokes who will listen to this who are going through similar shit.
Well, it's kind of interesting because that's how I went to London. Yep.
Well, you got hindsight now, and
you got hindsight on that. It's a bit of a story, but what it came down to is a guy and he's my best mate now. We were friends. Yep. But we weren't overly good friends. We'd played a lot of rugby together and stuff. Yep. Anyway, we met up. I must have only been a couple of weeks back from Afghanistan. Yep. He said, "You want to come and play some rugby?" He said, and he was coaching and playing at the time. And I said, "Oh, look, I'll come along and help coach." And I think I played a couple. I coached the first week, and then the second week I played. Yep. Hurt myself in the first 5 minutes. Anyway, we were sitting in the changing room after the game. And he looks at me and he goes, "Brad, we would have been doing exactly the same thing as we're doing right now 10 years ago." Yeah. And I was like having a beer, and I'm like, what are you talking about? My best mate goes, "We would have been doing exactly the same thing 10 years ago." And I'm like, and he goes, "We would have been in this changing room or one of these changing rooms, just played a game of rugby, drinking beer." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And I sort of didn't really get it. And he goes, "You want to move to London?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." And he'd just broken up with his wife at the time. So, yeah, we sort of made a decision there and then. We were both in good jobs in the military. Yep. Both our careers were flourishing, you could say. That we were in a good place. But, yeah, we decided to get out and move to London.
And whoever said locker room chats weren't fucking powerful.
They're the best.
Don't ever bloody know about it.
So yeah, there's a little bit of a story for you as such.
Oh, cheese and kisses was just calling.
So that's how that happened. I moved to London, and by that stage, my fiance at the time, we were already breaking down, and then I don't know, we sort of parted ways as such. Yeah.
Powerful. I didn't even know that. That's, see, everyone's got a story, people.
Yeah.
You never know until you
these heaps of stories.
Get into a decent whack of conversation. But just so we don't keep you all day, for you, obviously, you know, we've got to know each other well over, especially sort of the last 2 years since I've been at Functionwell, and get along really well. But for you, obviously, you know, wanting to, you know, you've been putting your hand up, and you do a lot of great work with South Slogan, but obviously, you know, you got your role as assistant SNC and doing all that sort of stuff, but you're also just one of the guys that is always there to have a yarn with the lads when they need it, because fucking we're all going through stuff. But then obviously, you know, you've come along to the men's circles and all that sort of stuff, and now looking to get involved a bit more. Like, what sort of, for you, has you sort of leaning that way, looking down that path?
This
is the interview question.
Yeah, this is an interview question. For me, like, it was like, I went to that men's circle, you know, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, probably would be.
And I sat in there and sort of went, I've got nothing to offer in regards to, I've got nothing wrong. I mean, deep down, I've probably, you know, got some help I do need, but I've got nothing like, my relationship's good, I've got good kids, I've got a good job and all that.
Yep.
And I looked around the room and I went, you know, I could help some of these guys, you know, but I couldn't. That wasn't my job. It's your job to give little bit of advice where you can. And then, you know, as such, you sort of said you were looking at our team meeting, one of our team meetings at Functionwell, you were looking for someone, and I was like, I could help out there. And that's sort of how that's eventuated. You see the same thing?
100%. It was interesting. Yeah, well, because I still remember when you were like,
I could help you.
Yeah, I could help you. And I said, nice. You could help me.
Could you?
Yeah. And one of the, like I said at the start, there's many reasons for this podcast, but an important part is for me, and one of the I guess, core pillars of the Man That Can project is integrity and authenticity, and it's you know, you can't create that or fake that. It's all done through sharing your stories and experiences.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted to have you on here, so people can start get a feel from the real Brad Shady,
and know my voice.
Yeah, and know who the Kiwi guy is, but getting an understanding of that. And like I said to you at the start, there's so many different elements and aspects to all of our stories that when you first sharing it to people or a platform, it's fucking overwhelming because you don't know which way to take it, right?
Yeah.
It's a wild story, and I think, you know, that is relatable to just how a lot of us are thinking in our heads in daily life, because there's so much going on. And I think through that practice, or whether it's journaling or talking about things, you start to gain more clarity around how experiences that you've had can impact other people. But it's just a practice and sort of preach. So I wanted to get you on here to put you out of your comfort zone and get it done and introduce you to people, because I'm excited to learn more from you. I think there's more to you than...
Oh, I'm excited.
meets the eyes, and a lot of people don't really know. But guys, we're going to wrap up because Brad and I have to go training with Eamon, and hopefully Eamon listens to this. But we'll be having Brad on here more regularly. And for those who aren't in the Facebook group, get your ass in the Facebook group. You got to be in the Facebook group. It's the best place. But you'll be seeing, obviously, hear from me regularly, but you'll also start hearing from Brad more regularly as well, as he, you know, goes through the process of
assisting,
helping, and adding value where he feels he can.
Yeah, definitely.
Which would be unreal. But where can people contact you if they need to?
Oh, geez.
Or they'd like to hear more about your story? Because obviously we did that in 35 minutes. That's a quick one.
Is that a quick one?
Yeah,
There's not much to me.
We're normally like Joe Rogan. We go for 3 hours here. So we could do that as well.
Not the ones I've listened to.
Which ones do you listen to? I'm doing one with Matt. Anyway, that's another topic.
I work at Functionwell like yourself. So, well, obviously on the Functionwell website, you can look my details up, Brad Munro.
Can they find you on Instagram, mate? Because I want you to be a bit busier on the gram.
Instagram. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram under Coach Brad Munro.
I'm going to do a post share. We'll get one with that backdrop there.
Nice.
It'll be juicy. But guys, that's the introduction to Brad Munro, and that's literally the smallest snippet you'll ever see. But make sure, obviously, if you're coming up at the men's circles, or if you're in the group and you want to ask Brad questions, or just even ask, he'll be sharing more stuff. And if things resonate with you, definitely feel free to reach out, and we'll see you guys at an event soon. Ciao.
Stuart.
Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.